Hello everyone, today we're working on this Bachmann Plus F7. It's a B unit. Don't worry, I've got an A unit to go with it. But this one, these, I don't know if you knew, are notorious for cracked gears. So the shell is an okay shape. There's a little blemish there, but that is not going to be too bad. So these are notorious for cracked gears. Some of these, they will have black gears, but these are the white ones, which are usually cracked. So without further ado, let's see what it runs like on the track. So let's put some power on this. Oh, that's nasty. So it's quite obvious that it has broken gears. Let's just see if I can get it to back up here. So yeah, quite obvious it has broken gears. So that's exactly what I wanted. Before I get started with the repair, a little bit of history. This engine here, this other F7, I did a video on it a while back. I'll put a link in the description. But it has a repair kit made by a company called Northwest Short Line. This is the part number for that. And this repair kit is really expensive. It costs more than what I paid for the locomotive, but at the same time makes a really good repair. Extremely high quality. So this is not available on the website. If you go on the website, you type in the part number, it's not available. But maybe someone somewhere has this. At any rate, I've got mine and I'm really glad for it. So that being said, let's get to work on that. Shell removal on these is super easy, barely an inconvenience. You just have to spread out the sides of the fuel tank here and it just pops out. The shell is actually not in bad shape. Can't complain about that. So everything's good about this engine. The frame's heavy, it looks good. All the gears inside here, these are all good gears. It's just the stupid little axle gears that are causing trouble. I have to remove this screw before I can spread out the mechanism and get to everything. Since I got it in my hands, I may as well clean everything. Although it's not crazy dirty. Yeah, there's no light for a B unit. So just these two screws. They get you in there. We'll pop this open. Yeah, I'm always careful with my parts. So that should just spread out like so. Yeah, the design's good. Everything is good about this. There really isn't a lot to it. There's two little spacers there. Be careful not to lose them. And then we got our power trucks. To me, this feels like a factory grease, and actually seems very good. I don't think I'm going to do anything to this, but I do have to address the broken gears thing. So these come out, there's just a little clip here, just a little clip, and you just spread that over, and then on the truck side it's a little trickier to get it to go, but that looks pretty good actually. Looks like all factory grease. So there is a method when you can switch out the wheels and the bad gears, switch them out until you get a little bit better result. And you might be able to, say, go one direction, say forward a little better. You can optimize that. But my objective today really is to work on these gears. So on this gearbox here, I'm just gonna clean the outside basically. So these are your contact strips, and I'll just clean them with my rag, and that will be good. I mean, this thing was working fine-ish. Anyways, these contact strips were not the problem. It was getting plenty of power, but really everything in these engines, they're fine. And the gearbox is a little dirty, but nothing that's going to keep the train from running. So I'm just going to clean it with my rag like that, and that will be good. Now this factory grease, I can feel it's very high viscosity. So I'm just going to add a little bit of my Label 108 here to the other gears, just to help out a bit. Everything seemed to be very clean, so that's not a problem. Everything seemed to be very clear and smooth, so I'm just gonna twist this a little bit so that I can just spread my oil around. So that should help some. Since I have the wheels in my hand, I may as well clean them, although they don't look too bad. They look pretty clean to begin with, but I'm not taking any chances. Well, I can tell this one is very loose. Very, very, very loose. So 100% this gear is cracked. Which, like I said before, no surprise. There's too much wear, not too much wear on the wheels. So it looks like this wasn't run for very long. So probably the wheels were cracked right out of the box. Let me just see if I can show you the crack. Remember, kids, don't smoke crack. I'm gonna try and refocus on that. Oh, look at that. Can you see it? This is probably as good as you get, so you can see the crack. It goes right through the gear. So that is bad. So right here goes right through the gear, and that is why it clicks. So last time I did that, what I did, I almost got it to where I'm happy. What I did is I took a drill and I opened the hole on each side, because when the wheel go in there, they spread it out, right? and that makes the crack. So they spread it out. And so I drilled the inside, and I glued the wheels back with crazy glue. And I almost got it, except I opened it up with my Dremel, and that had the it had the problem of drilling it crooked, because the Dremel spins so fast, it just drilled it crooked. So this time I'm going to just do it by hand. It's going to take a little more time, but the hole should be straight at least. So I'm hoping I got my solution 100%. So just before I glue it, this has to be clean. So I will go and clean it up with my toothbrush and some dish soap, and I'll do the side frames as well, and the body. The body needs a good clean, and the fuel tank. So I'll get all that done. So that will have plenty of time to dry while I'm working on my drive. I'm using a vice grip to hold it. That is complete overkill. If you're going to use a vice grip, be very, very careful. You can completely crush this. So that's going to hold it steady for me, and I'm going to go get my drill. All my mini drills are too small. If you don't have a set of mini drills like that, you should get one. I use them all the time. So I'll be using the 3/32 2.4 millimeter from the hardware store. That's all I got. So I'll use that. Now I'm gonna drill this. It's gonna take a while. I'm gonna take my time because I want it to be straight this time. Oh, it's even hard to get in there and drill that. Alright, it is gonna take patience. Even has two cracks in it. It's split right into two, I found out. So that's gonna make it even tougher to fix, but I'm not giving up. Everything's so weak in there. I'm gonna try a different approach. I'm gonna glue it together, and then I'll drill it after. Look at that, this is bad. So I'm gonna put glue with my toothpick here. And I'm gonna give it plenty of time to dry. And I'm using just regular clothespins, just to give it just a little tension, just like that. I'm gonna see if I can open up these holes now. I give it plenty of time to dry. Actually, it's going very well. Maybe the clothespins is a better way to hold this together. I had a couple that gave me problems, but this one worked out very well. So I found the best way to hold them is with your hands. So that, I opened up the hole quite a bit. So the wheel, if it's very loose in there, it's very loose, which is exactly what I wanted, so it won't open up the gear again. So that, I'll finish doing all the other 4 gears, and when I got them done, I'll just glue them back together with some crazy glue, and that should sort me out. That should sort me out. We'll see how it runs. While I was drilling them out, I noticed that I reopened the crack, but these are pretty loose in there now, so they won't reopen the crack now. So that's pretty neat. So I re-glued them together. I'm gonna give them plenty of time for the glue to dry. Actually, I can start gluing the wheels on there. So I've got my gear, and now when I put the wheel in, it's very loose, so it doesn't reopen the crack. So I'm just gonna glue that in there like that, and then we'll see. So now I'm just gonna glue this in. So as I bring in my gears, I'm gonna center it as best as I can, because I don't want it to wobble too much. And then I'll let this set. Do the same thing with the other wheel. This is not what I would call a repair. This is basically just giving the engine a little more extra time. I mean, honestly, the way I did it, I can actually come back and do it again. I put way too much. So I'll just wipe it down with a piece of Kleenex. And then reinstall it. Taking my time, of course. There's no checking the gauge on these. They fit however they fit. But actually, all things considered, it looks pretty straight. So if you want to help me with the channel, come check out my website. It's watchtrainsnow.com. And just click on a couple of pages. It's going to help me to get monetized. It just shows that I have traffic on my website. And that will help me make more videos. This locomotive is going to be on there for sale. So if you decide that you want it, I'll put up the other A unit as well. So I'll have both locomotives on there. So if you'd like to own these, you can come on my website. It's watchtrainsnow.com. I have other stuff on there if you want. Other neat end scale stuff. Actually, I can check how straight it is because I'm eyeballing it. But I can test how straight it is just by rolling it like this. So not very straight for now. So I'm gonna straighten it out as much as I can. I should have a jig made, but I guess it's just gonna be eyeball. So that actually is much better. Super. I'm getting emails from Broadway Limited Imports. I have the T1 from them. I don't run it every day, but it's still a really cool engine that I enjoy. And they were emailing me about refurbished units, and some of them look real good. The pricing is really good, so it's awful tempting to order one. I'm saving up for my Kato big boy, but geez, there's temptations everywhere. It's bad. Just making sure I get them as straight as I can. So yeah, there's temptations everywhere. Although I'm doing on purpose very inexpensive engines on this channel. I mean, there's other channels that'll do the DCC and sound stuff, especially steam engines. I've seen a video where they had a big boy with smoke, and that seemed to work very well. I don't have any N-scale engines with smoke. That is some crazy stuff, which I never expected to see. The engine smoking, it's interesting. I like it. It's not too good for your asthma though. I don't know if they have warnings on the box. They could, but I don't think it's very good for your asthma to have smoke in the house like that. Anyways, that is still really interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna let this set for a while. I gave my wheels plenty of time to dry. Now I'm gonna put everything back together. I used to put everything on there and then put the two frames together. It's tricky because you have to make sure this is between the frame and the truck, so it's very tricky to put these back. But I think I come up with a new method. I'm gonna put just the gearbox, and then I'll put the other frame half in it. So I'm just gonna slide in my two gearboxes. I always check them every step of the way. And then what you gotta do is you gotta hold the two back parts before you bring the other half, and make sure that you have your two spacers there. You need them. Otherwise there's a short circuit, and that would be bad. This is what I gotta line up. I have to line up this, I have to line up that, I have to line up the two trucks, and before I had to line up these. So that should be a lot easier to do. So I'll just bring it in over the motor. Nice and easy. It shouldn't be too hard to put these together. You also have to make sure your drive shafts are in the correct place. But that is not the hard part. So far, so good. Just gotta make sure that these two holsters don't leave. So yeah, it's not super easy to put it back together, but I will work it out. I think this has to go up a little bit. There we go. There we go. Almost there. I have to line up this side. Actually looks good. I'm going to start the two little screws. These are actually good looking, you know. They're not, like I said before, Cardo's not going out of business, but they look okay. And the only crappy part of the whole engine really is those gears that keep splitting. The design's pretty good with the worm gears like that. The advantage of this design is that let's say on an Atlas engine, the worm always stays straight and then the truck moves, so your gear will have a different angle on the worm gear. But these, they keep the same angle, always straight on the worm gear. So this is a good design. Let's try it on the bench. See how that's nice and quiet. That is a real good design. Now I'll bring in these contact strips. These, you have to give them a little angle, but it doesn't have to be a crazy angle, just a little angle. And they'll fit, they have a pin to hold them in place. So they fit in that pin. And that, I think, is going to be much easier than the old method where I put everything together. So that looks good. And then I can bring in the little wheels. Okay, so this guy came out of its spot. And then we'll bring in the wheels to hold it in place. And the other wheel. Take your time, it's not a race. Just gonna help it out just a little bit. Needs a little bit of help. And then we'll check it. I'll check it again on the bench. Try to evaluate my job. You can see they still jump out a bit, but hopefully it's an improvement. And then I can bring the side frames back in. Start with the coupler side, because that's a little harder. And that's that. I'm not 100% satisfied with the results, but I'm gonna go put it on the track and we'll see where we're at. So it's about the same as before, but still it was worth a try, I think. Hopefully over time I can improve my method, but this I would probably say it's a failure. Maybe I got a little improvement, but still consider this a failure. So maybe over time I can improve my method. I've got more of these Bachmann F7s coming, so that maybe one day I'll get it. Alright, let's put the shell back on. On a side note, I also bought this Spectrum SD40, and it's in really good shape. In fact, when I tested it out, when I just got it on the bench, I couldn't really find anything wrong with it. The horns there, all the handrails are present. I even got this nice black handrail guard, which I don't know if this was originally with it. Why not? So I'm definitely keeping that together with it. So really I couldn't find anything wrong with it. And as far as I can tell, I'll put this on the rails and it will run just great. So let's go find out. I couldn't make a video for just that because probably it'll be too short. Oh, it's a little noisy maybe. Maybe it can use some tweaking. Yeah, for sure it can use some tweaking. But man, that was a good purchase. Looks brand new. There really isn't much to them. You remove the side frames by loosening this little clip here. Just like that. If you can get it over the hump there, that pops out. And I'm gonna run it just like that with the side frames off, so I can look at what might be making some noise. Everything looks good, to tell you the truth. I don't think I'm gonna do a lot to this. I'll just run it like that. That will be grand. So that works for me. I still have a bunch of all old model railroader magazines. I'm gonna show you a couple of highlights from the May 69 issue. They do a review of the MRC Berkshire, so that's really neat. Also the review the Rapido Pacific. Here's an ad from America's Hobby Center from 1969. You can see the prices of different things. Here's the same Berkshire, $29.95. Remember, a car was $3,000 back then, so that's in today's money it's $290, $299. So today for $299 you can get a refurbished Broadway Limited with DCC and sound and a lot more details. So I think we got it good today. And there's starting to be more ads for Concord. This is a Kato engine. You can still get that today, the EF70, and then paint it for whatever you like. Pennsylvania or Penn Central or Milwaukee Road. That's good to know. Lots of ads for brass engines. The Pennsy Q2. That is nice. Oh, check this out. The Bachmann United Aircraft Turboliner. That's pretty neat. And also, if you like Metroliners, they made them in '69. The track plans are still usable today. That's something to consider. These old magazines are a gold mine. This is a nice article about the RS1. The Alco diesel guy made a nice video of this, showing how revolutionary this was in 1940. Really good article about freight truck designs. I used to read these. Somebody gave me a pile of these when I was learning about model railroad, and I picked up all the vocabulary from them. Here's something I learned. Incidentally, leaf springs cost more, but give an easier ride than multiple coil springs. Thus, trucks under cabooses are fitted with leaf springs. You learn something every day. Of course, 1969 was the centennial of the last spike. So United made a set. You could get both engines. Kinda cool. Now I can put the shell back on. And now it's time to run some trains. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly had fun making it for you. See you soon.